Ah, these were the days. Playing on the Game Boy. Oh, life was so cool. Oh, hey guys. Is it that time already? Yeah, it must be. Listen, I was just getting in the mood, ready to take a little time travel back to the early days of gaming. Our guest today is Mike Channell from OutsideXbox. He's going to be joining us. So what are we waiting for? Let's go. Just finish this level. Alrighty then, welcome along to the 21st episode of NitroNights. If they weren't episodes, but in fact years of life, we would now be 21 years of age. That's an adult in pretty much all of the countries in the world. And what do adults do? Well, they look back reflectively at their childhood. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at the latest hype amongst retro racing games. Plus, we'll also have the return of the Hotlap. And we'll be looking at some of your liveries in the social showroom. And if that wasn't enough, we'll also have the latest in the Newsflash. Plus, we're joined by Mike Channell. Don't know who that is? Well, this should explain everything.
Mike Channell is living the dream. He's achieved what most people in the virtual racing world set themselves as a goal. He's a real-life driver and gets thousands of views on his YouTube videos that he does for OutsideXbox, a channel he created alongside other content creators. From playing with a Lancia diecast to driving in a real-life race, Channell has achieved his goals. When he's not following one passion, he's working on another, creating video content. Throughout the years, Channell has educated the casual audience of OutsideXbox about sim racing and even got a few laps in with racing legends such as Fernando Alonso. But Mike doesn't work exclusively for OutsideXbox. He also writes articles for TopGear, one of the most prominent general racing brands out there. In his features there, he's busy converting casual readers to the world of esports racing, a true missionary of the scene.
Truly unbelievable. Getting to race with Fernando Alonso, I would have fangirled pretty hard. Listen, he's a man on a mission and he's about to talk about his recent successes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to NitroNights. It is Mike Channell.
Hello. Hi. I'm on the big wall. Oh my gosh. This is amazing.
Mike, listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. I did some research. I did a lot of research because we've kind of worked together before when you were racing alongside David Coulthard and Nico Rosberg and that incredible race. But I did some research. What is this I see that you auditioned to be in Harry Potter?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, very, very long time ago. I was 17 and I sent a sort of speculative letter with some headshots to a casting agency. I had a couple of auditions even for the second Harry Potter film. So could have ended up being a glamorous actor. Although the guy who did get the role hasn't gone on to be an Oscar winner, so I don't feel too bad about not getting it.
It could have been you. Well, listen, it's great to have you on board. And I know this is going to be a magical catch-up in many respects. I want to talk to you first of all about your documentary that you've been documenting essentially your involvement into real life racing. Has it been easier or harder than you thought it was going to be?
It's certainly been as expensive as I thought it would be. Like, real motorsport is super duper expensive. Obviously I plunged a lot of my savings into buying the race car. I still own the race car, fortunately, so I am hoping to get out again when the world's a little bit more settled, probably. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. Obviously, having Carfection along to document that as well was amazing, because I now have a sort of, with all the episodes compiled together, I've got a sort of hour-long documentary of my first season of racing and those first sort of faltering steps. And what I really wanted to do, to answer your question, was to show what it's like for a kind of very, like an armchair motorsport fan who's into kind of sim racing, show what it's like when you actually get into real racing. And the answer is, it's kind of similar to a sim racing server. You know, I was kind of mid-pack, you know, I wasn't the fastest guy in there, but I certainly wasn't the slowest either. I got some good battles in. So I think my sort of skills in sim racing are comparable to my skills in real racing. And I was kind of expecting the level to be higher maybe in real racing, but actually, you know, there's a decent spread. And unfortunately, all of the, you know how when an esports pro goes real racing and all their amazing talents are kind of completely replicated in a real car, well, all the stupid, dumb things that I do when I'm playing Sims were also replicated in a real car as well. So it's completely transferable skills, or lack thereof.
Well, when you were racing in the ABB Formula E with UNICEF, you crashed in the same chicane spot that Stoffel Van Dorn did, and then and he copied you.
We're essentially the same. We're the same, yeah. I mean, me and Stoffel, basically exactly the same level of driving skill. Yeah, that was tough. I would say of all the sort of, I've been very fortunate since the sort of lockdown kicked off to participate in some amazing sim racing events. You obviously mentioned the race against Nico Rosberg and David Coulthard that we worked on. But yeah, the ABB Formula E RaceAtHome Challenge was, I would say, the toughest. Those cars are amazing, but they require a very specific sort of driving style. And it was astonishing to me to be in a server with a bunch of proper esports pros and watching what they were able to extract from those cars around some extremely tight and twisty circuits. That chicane was awful. It was really awful.
But the beautiful thing is, what I think you do is you preach about sim racing to occasionally the casual viewer. That isn't an easy task, is it?
No, absolutely not. And I think a lot of it's to do with presentation. I find that when people actually watch the content, they really engage with it because I think my natural enthusiasm for it comes through in the videos. Obviously this is something I love and have loved for years. So I think that comes across in the videos, certainly, and people find that infectious. But I would say that a lot of it's to do with just packaging. The struggle is getting people to click on the video to start with. You could have a box of delicious donuts, but if you write "this contains dog muck" on the box, then no one's going to open it to find out, right? So, that's actually quite a good way to stop people stealing my donuts. Anyway, I digress. It's to do with packaging, right? And it's to do with presenting it in such a way that your sort of casual viewer will click on it just because they're interested. And then once you've got them in there and they can't escape, then you feed all the sim racing information to them. Yeah. But I'm also lucky to write for TopGear as well and talk to people who are car fans, but not necessarily sim racing fans or esports fans, and try and share a bit of the love.
Well, I tell you what, I think the work you're doing is hopefully being a catalyst to get more people involved in sim racing. We will talk about a bit more of that in a bit, but seeing as you are the person at OutsideXbox who talks about racing games and racing in general, I think you're going to handle the quickfire round questions very well. Here we go.
So.
Can I just also say, you look very snug with an armchair.
I'm cozy. Yeah, it's my sim rig. I thought I ought to sit in the sim rig for this one. Got my steering wheel to play with.
I am only delaying the inevitable. So here we go. Quickfire round starts now. Favorite racing game?
Ooh, probably Daytona USA. I've got a lot of fun memories of that arcade game. End of the pier. 8-player multiplayer. It's brilliant.
Favorite driver?
It's got to be Lewis, hasn't it? I think he's the greatest of all time. And I think every time we see him drive, we're witnessing something quite special.
Yeah. Thought you were going to say Fernando Alonso, but all right. Favorite car?
The one I had as a poster of as a kid, probably... everyone says Ferrari, so I'm going to say McLaren F1.
Was it stuck on with blue tack?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Too much blue tack, and it brought the wallpaper off when I peeled it off.
Oh,
eventually,
classic.
At the age of about 21.
Personal hero of esports racing?
I'm really loving what Igor Fraga is doing. I've been sort of trying to follow him in F3 this year as well. I think being part of the Red Bull Young Driver program, hopefully that works out for him, and it's a real chance for a driver whose his origins aren't necessarily esports, but he's very heavily involved in esports. It's a chance for one of those drivers to get to F1, which would be very exciting. We've seen amazing esports races in GT racing and prototypes and things like that, but I would love to be able to say that's one of our guys in F1. And, to be fair to Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, also big representatives, but they're very much they've gone up the motorsport ladder, whereas Igor had to take a break and focus on esports.
Okay, that was one of the most detailed questions answered in the quickfire round. I loved it. Arcade or simulation?
Oh, don't make me choose. I think there's a lot of people who focus entirely on sim racing. I love arcade racing, but yeah, probably sims. Just because I feel like I'm getting transferable skills and becoming a better driver driving a sim. Okay,
that was a very diplomatic answer, and I liked it. Your first racing game on which platform? That is your last question.
Ooh, man, I'm gonna age myself here quite a lot, but I remember playing the very first Jeff Crammond Grand Prix game on an Atari ST a million years ago.
That is a beautiful answer. Well, listen, Mike Channell, you have just finished the quickfire round.
I survived.
It wasn't too bad, was it?
No, it was okay, actually. You were very gentle.
Okay, brilliant. Well, listen, you mentioned about arcades there. A lot of people seem to be going back in time to get that nostalgia of the arcade games. And lots of people are now making games to fit that. We've put the little deep dive together to show you everything that's going on.
As well as the sim racing hype in esports, another trend has slowly made its way into the racing game scene. So-called retro racers have been appearing in different forms and styles for some time now. Most of them emerge from Steam, created by independent developers. Games such as Retro Wave or Rhythmic Retro Racer reference the synthwave age, set between the 80s and 90s. Their optics and music imitate the era's neon style, while their gameplay resembles the racers that conquered arcades back then. With Slipstream, another arcade racer hops on the hype train, even going back to 16-bit optics and presenting them in a modern way. But the retro hype even leaves its mark outside low-budget indie games. With Hotshot Racing and Inertial Drift, two promising multi-platform titles have recently entered the stage. Inertial Drift comes with a unique control scheme. Both sticks of the controller are used to independently control the angle of drift and steering of the car. Both the anime style with colourful, subtle neon lighting and the design of the cars evoke the spirit of the early 90s. Combined with the over-the-top drift action, Inertial Drift truly makes up for more than an insider tip. Besides that, Hotshot Racing might also be a new hope for arcade racing fans. Fast-paced racing action featuring nitro boosts, huge drifts, and pursuits with cops provide excellent entertainment. Its minimalist cartoon style makes Hotshot Racing easy to run on every PC. Our NitroNights guest Mike Channell has already spotted the game's potential.
I do like the way this car drifts, actually. It's quite easy to control. It's such a love letter to sort of old-school arcade games of all sorts.
Let's see if this retro hype will stick around for a while, or if it's already peaked. Who knows what the next generation console will bring? But one thing is for sure, racing games can still surprise with unique and exciting gameplay ideas, or even take you on a journey through time and space.
Oh, that was epic. I loved going back on that little journey there. And I know we saw you there with the Hotshot Racing, Mike. Listen, where did it start for you in terms of arcade games? You mentioned about the Atari, but in terms of arcade, where did it all start, that passion for you?
Well, I think I've mentioned Daytona USA, which I think came out in 1993, but I would have, I guess, come across it around 1994. And that and Ridge Racer both came out around the same time. And I just remember being completely blown away by the 3D graphics, you know, the proper textured 3D graphics at a time when the consoles we had at home were like Super Nintendo and Mega Drive and things like that. So it was just such a quantum leap ahead of anything that was available at home. And I think nowadays, if you walk into an arcade, you look at the games and you think, well, my Xbox can do that at home, or my PlayStation can do that at home. Whereas at the time, it was really the place to go to play the sort of really biggest budget, most exciting games. And Daytona USA was that for me. So colorful, such amazing tracks, and surprising depth as well. You know, once you mastered the kind of manual gears and the associated sort of drift mechanic, it was astonishing and just great fun multiplayer as well, right? I mean, you couldn't walk into an arcade and see an 8-person Daytona thing and not get your mates on for a race.
Well, you would try. I would always be like, mates, let's do this. And they go, no, we're going to do Point Break. We're going to do that. Let's just get on something else. Interesting enough, though, I mean, I love Sega Rally. That was one of my favorites. How does it differ for you personally, Mike, making content for digital compared to like real life stuff that you're doing?
I think, as I said before, there's sort of passions there in both. You know, I love motorsport as much as I love sim racing and racing games, and the two have been intertwined as part of my kind of history of, you know, my love of motorsport has been informed by the cars I discovered in Gran Turismo, and then I discover an amazing motorsport series, and then I'd be looking for games that replicated those cars. So it's always been really closely sort of meshed. And in terms of making the content, I think I approach it the same sort of way, just trying to put across my enthusiasm and kind of give people the same thrill I get when I play racing games or go racing for real.
Yeah, well, you definitely do that. And Mike, for those that saw you sort of reviewing and playing Hotshot Racing, why would you recommend it to people who maybe stick towards the sim, but for that fun? Is it the fun element that you would sort of get them to go and play?
Yeah, it's super sort of knockabout racing. It's got very, very accessible drift mechanics. So you don't have to be sort of super technically capable to enjoy it, and even if you're a sim racing fan, I think there's little things in there that if you've ever played and loved arcade games, there's nods to it. So one of the circuits is so closely aligned to the sort of the original Ridge Racer course, so that was great to see, and it's got those kind of blue skies and things. And then if you're a really hardcore motorsport nerd and you play like a bunch of hardcore sims and things, a lot of the cars are very clearly influenced by real world motorsport cars that you might have driven in your sims as well. So I think, you know, we all need a bit of time to unwind from time to time, and the level of focus and concentration that's required by a sim isn't always what you want. And if you're looking for a kind of sitting on the couch, lean back kind of gaming rather than lean forward gaming, it's perfect for that sort of thing.
Definitely perfect for that. It's interesting though that the esports arcade games, there's not as many leagues compared to that of sim racing leagues. Well, why do you think that is?
I think, like you say, we've got this current resurgence of kind of arcade racing games, and led by the kind of indies. So I feel like that resurgence is only just sort of starting. And it would take one of those games to get properly sort of established for a really serious arcade league. But I've sort of I was threatening to throw a Daytona USA 8-player invitational at Loading Bar in London recently. Obviously, the current global situation has kind of put the skids on that, if that's not too awful a pun. But I would love to do that. I'd love to get a bunch of my content creator friends over to a bar, get a bunch of sort of sim rigs set up, but with Daytona USA, and see who's the best at the arcade racing games.
That sounds amazing. And to go one pun to another, I hope that drifts into position for you. I failed miserably there. Listen, it doesn't matter about me.
Crashed and burned.
Yeah, a little bit. Listen, I've got the safety stewards out there. The yellow flag is waving at the moment. Listen, let's have a look at our community, the people who get involved with NitroNights in the social showroom. And we'll start with this question we pose to everyone. VR setup. If you had to choose right now, which would you pick? VR setup or triple monitors? I love this from Robin Becker, says, while VR is nice and the immersion in some games like Dirt Rally is insane, I prefer triple for circuit racing. I don't get much motion sickness personally, but it's much more draining to drive in VR. What would be your answer to that? VR or triple monitor?
I don't currently have a triple monitor setup, so I've not experienced it. But I do love VR, but as they say, it's tiring and kind of uncomfortable, just having that kind of weight on your head and things, and it gets kind of sweaty and warm. But I do know people who do iRacing endurance events exclusively in VR, and I think the technology is getting lighter and more impressive. So I think ultimately, if I had to choose, I'd probably go VR.
Okay, now in Forza Motorsport 7, there's an opportunity for you to edit your own liveries. We asked everybody to send some of those in, and they are truly epic. And I know you can see these, Mike. So when we look at these, this incredible one from PTG Flux. Loving that livery work there. And the attention, the time that has gone in to make that is truly incredible. And that's not the only one. We've got some others. But is that something you'd probably do, Mike, at some point?
I've very little artistic talent whatsoever, so I love what people do with the livery editors. It astonishes me, particularly because it's not so much like, you know, drawing as it is arranging layers, and so, some of the stuff they come up with like that, you know, using a layer-based system is crazy. I think if I was making any livery, I'd probably get really self-indulgent and just make my own race car livery and race around in that.
I want the not arrogance, confidence of someone to just have their face on this delivery.
Oh yeah.
But we've got 4 more examples here to show you, and these are like just immense from Koshira there, MNK. Just the attention to detail. So we love those. So thank you very much for sending those in. And finally, for you, Mike, talking about that sort of VR world, Dash the world trailer. What about this? How fast can you go? Check out the next level VR combat kart racing. This is what we're looking at. Some of this epic trailer here. This would definitely be a game that you would get involved in, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I've played they did a Mario Kart VR kart racing game that is very, very similar to that and has you grabbing the kind of power-ups and stuff like that. And it was incredible. I think that's that's again why I sort of love the idea of arcade, and arcade in VR is a great idea too, because all right, Sims will take you to a real place, a real circuit, put you in a real car, but in a VR arcade game, you can be in the most fantastical environments doing the most ludicrous stuff that you would never be able to do in real life. So yeah, there's definitely a place for it. I'll definitely be checking that one out.
Yeah, For sure. All right, then. And then if you just invite me, I'll sort of play against you.
Sure.
I'd absolutely love
absolutely. You can come over. That's fine.
Actually,
Socially distance, obviously.
Yeah, of course. No, hang on. We can play online. But actually, before I agree to that, I want to see how good you actually are. Because this is time, Mike Channell, for the Hotlap. This is where things start to really hot up. It could be the radiator or it could be nerves for Mike Channell right now because he is going to take on the Trackmania Hotlap. Mike, how are you feeling?
Bad. I'm bad at Trackmania. It's confusing. It goes upside down, and anyone who was doing it in real life would be killed. So, yeah. I'll give it a go. I'll give it my best shot.
Yeah, we'll try and be very safe. All you need to do is beat the time of 53 seconds to be the winner, or beat my time of 1 minute 37 and a half, doesn't matter, to be in the top 6. Best of luck, Mike Channell. Here you go. 3, 2, 1, take it away.
All right, here we go. All right. Oh, so personal best is you, is it, Tom? Is that your time that I can see on my screen? Oh no, I'm flying out of the circuit. I've landed out of the circuit.
Restart.
Let's restart. Okay. Good, fine. I'm glad I've got restarts. You don't get those in real life.
No.
I can tell you that.
You get 3 minutes to make
lovely.
this.
Lovely arc.
Oh, that's
lovely
beautiful.
arc. Look at that.
Wow.
That's the racing line. For the first time in my life, I've been on the racing line.
As a connoisseur of arcs, that was magnificent.
Oh, no, but I've hit one of your giant cigar things. What's that all about? Oh, and here's the loop. Here's the upside down bit. Here we go.
Pace up.
It's put me in the cockpit for maximum nausea. This is bad. This is a bad lap. Don't like it, but it's a sighter, isn't it? Right, okay. This is confusing as well. This doesn't happen in a real race circuit. Oh my gosh. Oh, that requires some braking. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good.
This is great.
I'm riding the crest of this track. Oh no, I've slammed into the wall. Disastrous.
Just reverse all the way.
Quick donut. Yeah, I could do a J-turn on the line. Spin it and win, right?
Here we go.
Okay.
Just beat my time. That's all you need to do.
That's true. But do I get another go? I've got 1 minute and... Oh, it's going in slow motion. Oh, how cinematic. Oh, you guys. And I've turned into a hover car. It's gone full Back to the Future too.
That was
gorgeous. 109. I
Yep.
reckon I can improve on that if I don't come to a complete halt at
Just
that
6 more
weird
seconds.
cigar chicane. But yeah, let's see if we can...
Because
That's
at the
good.
moment,
that looks all right.
Mac Backham is at 1 minute 3, so just shave off 6 seconds and you're there. You've got 1 minute
Just 6
20
seconds.
to do
That's
this.
all I have to do. That's all I have to do. Right. Okay. This bit was tricky. We'll take it slightly easier through here. There we go. Good. Better speed into the loop. Going faster than I was doing before. Not 6 seconds faster, which presumably is the next time up. Oh no. This weird crest thing. They should introduce this to Formula One. It would make things a lot more exciting, but probably also a bit more dangerous.
Yeah, and definitely
Okay.
help those Renault engines as well that are coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Honda are on the way out. Bad news for Red Bull. Bad news for F1 probably as well, because you've got to wonder how long the manufacturers are going to stick around. What with electric cars and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, slow motion. Here we go. Well, this is definitely going to be an improvement.
This is.
But how much of an improvement?
Oh, I think you're going to beat Mac Backham. And you do beat Mac Backham.
Amazing.
That is epic.
There we go. I don't have time for another run, so I'm just going to do some celebratory donuts on the line. Oh, great donut there. Well done, Mike. You donut.
Listen, Mike Channell, that was epic in many respects because you didn't set a fast enough time, still better than mine, but then you beat Mac Backham. So that puts you in
Hooray.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5th
Not
place.
last. Hashtag not last. That is my motto.
Mike Channell, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on Nitro Nights. Have you enjoyed
Thank you for having me.
your visit?
Yeah, it's been lovely. I very much enjoyed being on the big NitroNights screen. That was a career highlight for me. Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for making the show as well. It's so cool to see like a slick show about sim racing, which is a thing I love. So well done, you guys.
Oh man, thank you so much. Well, listen, all the best with everything that's going on in your world at the moment, and yeah, maybe see you for a sort of online gaming session at some point. There you go, Mike Channell. Thank you very much. We say goodbye to him because now it is time for the NitroNights Newsflash. Alrighty then, here is your news flash for this week, and it's a good one. The 2020 MotoGP Esport Championship was finally back on Friday after a 2-month break. It was an evening of the brothers, with both Adrian Montenegro, aka Williams_Adrian, and Christian Montenegro, aka Williams_Christian, taking one race win each. At the Red Bull Ring, Austria, Adrian, who competes for Red Bull KTM, took a lights to flag victory in the opening race. In the second round of the season, his brother took second place. Now, the second race of that day saw the two brothers trade places, and this time Williams_Christian took the victory with his brother slotting into second place. Truly unbeatable siblings. Reigning champion Andrea Severi, aka Andrew ZH, seems to be struggling a bit this season, but this didn't keep him from fighting a fierce battle for P5. Get the 30th of October in your diary, do it right now, as that will be the next races at Mazzano and Phillip Island. Moving on to Petit Le Mans, powered by VCO, fourth and final part of the VCO Grand Slam on iRacing. This time, the racers took to the legendary Road Atlanta track to battle it out. The contestants competed in 3 classes at the same time, LMP2, GTE, and GT3 class. A lot of big names in the sim racing scene were involved, like Max Benecke or Johan Haaf, but most notably, the team of Jonas Wallmeyer and F1 driver Max Verstappen started the race as the representatives for Team Redline. But pole position went to Max Benecke and his teammate of Dominic Faber, with Max Verstappen starting in 5th. Benecke and partner controlled the early portions of the race, where their sister team of Max Verstappen and Jonas Wallmeyer jumped in front of them during a pit stop. From there, it was a done deal. They took to Twitter after the race to express their happiness. Super happy to have won this Petit Le Mans, said Verstappen. Congratulations to both of them. Next in the Newsflash, it's the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, Round 16 at Talladega. Round 16 marked the final round of the regular season for the iRacing's NASCAR Series. The stakes were incredibly high, as it was a tight battle for the playoff spots. The track, as I said, was Talladega, which marked the second time the series visited the Alabama track this season. The race started off with rather a sort of timid race, as there were very few overtakes here and there, but for the most part, there was no yellow flags involved. Drama struck later on as Logan Clampett slammed into the wall, leaving him behind with very much follow-up damage. Clampett was therefore in dire need of Jimmy Mullis' failure to make the playoffs, which didn't happen. Mullis took home a strong 5th place, which got him a playoff spot. After a rocky start to the season, he said on Twitter, "This team never gives up." The surprise winner, though, of the day was Brandon Hasey-Kettle. The young American was a first-time winner this season, and even though he wasn't in playoff contention, this does leave him something to build on for next. Funnily enough, Kettle posted a picture of his winner sticker a week prior to the race that he would put on his desktop if he did get first place. Miraculously, a week later, his dream became a reality. The full list of playoff contenders are Keegan Leahy, Ryan Zusa, Bobby Zelensky, Jimmy Mullis, Garrett Lowe, Mike Conti, Nick Ottinger, and Ray Alfalla. This year's playoffs look stacked to the roof. Playoffs start October the 14th. Last but not least, Ride 4 is about to be released on October the 8th. It is a motorbike game from Milestone and can be seen as the little sibling of MotoGP. It's not about any licensed series, but comes with lots of licensed and legendary bikes. If you want to know if it's worth a try, have a look at our review video on overtake.gg or our YouTube channel. That, I'm happy to tell you, concludes your Newsflash this week. How good of a guest was Mike? Well, listen, that brings us to the end of this 21st episode of NitroNights. We'll be back in 7 days' time with the 22nd episode. We will see you then. In the meantime, stay safe and don't forget to buckle up.